Hi, welcome back to another Garmin Marine webinar. I'm John with the Garmin Marine team, and today we wanted to go through our GPS map series, new user interface. So we released software updates between January and April of this year on our GPS map series, and we just want to kind of go through, show you what the software updates will do, show you the brand new user interface in our current GPS map series lineup. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at marine.training@garmin.com. We would be happy to answer your questions. Also, you can see archived webinars at our YouTube channel at Garmin Marine, and you can scan that QR code if you want to go and get the link to our past webinars. So let's go ahead and get started here. Like I said, we're going to cover the GPS map user interface. This is a total change in the way that the screens in the user interface look and feel, and it really streamlines a lot of the button or keystrokes and touchscreen strokes that you're going to see on there in order to change, manipulate, and customize data within the unit itself. As always, make sure that you know which unit that you have and if this software update will be available for it. As you look here, it will cover the current 8600 series. It will go back to the 742, 942, 1242 Plus series, the 1242, and then all of the current 10 and 12 inch keyed series and our current 7, 9, and 12 inch units. We are going to highlight the user interface in this webinar here, and then I will do a subsequent webinar on a deep dive into more of our additional software updates and features and how to customize your GPS map user interface screen. As you see here, you do not see the 7600 series on here, so this user interface will not be updated within that series. As always, make sure that your software is updated. The easiest way to do this would be through ActiveCaptain. We do have great links on our Garmin website that our product support team has put together, and you can go ahead and make sure that your software is updated in your unit, and then as well as any additional Garmin devices that are connected to that network. We also, if you go to our page there at Garmin Marine and look and see what the software updates were, we'll actually let you know what new features were added in the latest software update. And then you can also go back and see what the past updates had covered too. Use your ActiveCaptain app. If you didn't want to use a smartphone, a tablet, in order to do your software update, you still can use Express on your PC and Mac and do your software updates through that. If you need any assistance, you can contact us at our help desk, and we would be happy to help you. Just go into the support section here on the Garmin website. So let's go ahead and get into it. Most of these screenshots that you're going to see here were done with my GPS map 1243 XSV. So yours might be a little bit different in some of the layouts, especially if you have a larger screen, maybe a 16 or 22 or 24 inch screen. Some of these will be a little bit different, especially in the combo selections. So let's go ahead and get started here. So if you take a look at the left-hand screen there, that was your home screen on the original GPS map user interface. Some of you might have remembered quite a few years ago, we did a user interface update with our original 8000 series from the new 7600 series back in the day. So it's changing it around a little bit, and we're going to go from this screen here to your home screen. It's going to look similar to what you see over here on the right-hand side. It's a new design, faster, more efficient page changes is really the key here. And as you take a look, so we're going to call these categories. So your favorite, smart mode, combo, so forth, are actually now on your bottom over here. And on that navigation bar on the bottom, you've got pin, charts, and we'll talk a little bit about how things have changed and some of the terminology has changed, and then how we've brought things to the forefront. The features are within a category. So if you're going into charts, and if you notice up here, our options would be nav chart, fishing chart, and so forth. This is going to show what is available on your network with the current system that you're running. So I can identify here that, I have a radar also connected to the system in our GXM54, and it looks like I have the fish mapping and weather subscription added to this. So that's just dependent upon what you have connected and what subscriptions that you actually have current. Here's the way it looked on the older series here, user interface under charts. So what was our goal? So we wanted efficient user experience patterns, minimum hand movement, faster, more efficient page changes, modernize it a little bit, and then we actually put a little carousel on the bottom here with a home. And then once we pin our favorites, let's call it. So we called them favorites, and these are going to be just pinned categories that we use. And it allows us to quickly access it. So we don't have to leave this screen. We can just scroll through left or right, tap that screen that we want to add and view. We also added a warning manager. We'll be talking more about the warning manager in subsequent webinars here. But then also options. So if you remember and listen to some of my prior GPSMAP User Interface seminars and webinars, I said all you needed to remember was really home and menu. Well, we still have the home, and here's your home button, but you also want to remember menu is now just called options. So look for the three little dots. They'll either be located here or a little bit higher up on the right-hand side. So the consistency will still be there. And then we'll talk about settings. Settings will allow us to get into the global settings of the MFD, the multifunction display, and customize different things in it that we'll also talk about. So with this, like we said, we want to be more efficient, and then we also want to give you the ability to actually see the screen. So if you notice, if we're wanting to change out of our sonar screen, which is side view in this example, and we were going to change to something else, or I wanted to pull up traditional clear view or whatever down here in our categories, we have the ability to still see what's happening on here. That comes in real handy, especially if you're in the chart screen and you're navigating and you're cruising along, but you wanted to change really quick. You don't lose that screen. And so you can still see that screen and still be able to function if you're cruising along, but then change it. So we did update the cursor icon for this, and then we wanted to make more consistent screen touches, button presses. So you've got your close button and your back buttons are always going to appear in the same location on the lower right-hand side. So if you just needed to go back one screen or close out this screen, you can just look down there on the right-hand side. So with gestures, when we're in our screen here and we're actually in this example showing charts, if we have more charts that are available, which we do, we can just swipe from right to left, and then that'll allow us to see more on this little carousel area here of the tiles. And then we can press options to rearrange, add to pin. We're going to go through kind of a little training on that and show you an example of creating a combo and how we can add data bars, customize data bars, add overlays, and then a new toolbar that you're going to see, which makes everything really more efficient and allows us not to back out of that combo screen. Close button appears in the right-hand side. So simple, easy user interface. So options, like I said, now that's what we formerly called menu, and then settings. So anytime I see options, so you see it's up here on this part of the screen when we're in charts, I can click on or touch the three little dots there, and then my next screen that pops up would be this screen here. So within charts, if I'm on there, it gives me a couple options here. I can add something to pin, or I can rearrange the way these tiles are on the bottom. And then it also gives me access to settings. So settings is the global settings of the MFD. It allows me to dig deep into that and go in and change what I see within the unit itself, such as alarms, screen lock, voice control. Yes, I said voice control. That'll be coming up in a future webinar of how we can actually do voice commands within our GPS map series. But it also gives us a lot of other, preferences on navigation. We can look at communications to see what's on our networks, Neiman 2000, on our Ethernet network. We can customize alarms. We can go into My Vessel, and if you had an autopilot, this is where we can commission the autopilot. So all of our global settings can be found on any screen without having to, like in the past, exit out, go to the home, and then go to settings. So it's just a lot more efficient. So pinned, how do we add something to pinned? And this is probably the first thing that I see people do, because this is going to be one of your most used favorites or tiles that you're going to use in the features. And then you can pin that to the category. So let's go ahead and take a look at how you can do that. So obviously before, so pinned is here on the right-hand side on the new user interface. And then on the left-hand side, we called it favorites. So the way we actually lay this out makes it really easy to see. And let's take a look here of how we can actually add something pinned and save it. So if we come in here and we go to charts, nav chart, you press and hold that feature tile, or you can also use options. Once you do that and you press and hold that, that'll dump that nav chart into pinned. So that way, when we turn on our chart plotter the next time we go out on the boat, we can go right to pinned, and we can actually rearrange those so they're in an order that we use it the most. Like I said, you can also select options and then pin it that way too. So you have two different ways that you can actually do that. Once we've done that, nav chart has been pinned, and then to remove it, you can press and hold that icon. So pretty intuitive. If you think about it, if you see an icon on there and you press and hold it, you'll get a prompt and it'll let you know what you just did with that or to do with it. We're going to select OK here, and now we can see that the nav chart is in pin, and I can do almost unlimited number of pins that you can have here. And if you had more, you can actually rearrange them and then just rotate or slide over from right to left the additional pinned features that you have in there or tiles. So I just also added ActiveCaptain. So under Vessel, I've added ActiveCaptain. ActiveCaptain is where you can connect to your smart device, your phone or tablet. It's a free app that allows you to perform software updates, transfer waypoints and routes. It also allows you to update your charts or maps on your GPS map unit. It also lets you mirror the screen when you're using a GPS map unit. So ActiveCaptain is something really neat. It also allows you, like I said, to do software updates. So that might be something that I use a lot, or I want to make sure that I'm up to date. So I just went into Vessel, I found ActiveCaptain, I tapped and held that tile, and then it added it to my pinned favorites. Maybe I want to rearrange it. Maybe that's the first thing that I want to have when I open it up from left to right. So what I can do is I can go hit, let's go back there again. So I'm going to hit options, select rearrange. And then what you're going to do is you'll touch that tile, tap it, and then tap it to the location you want to take it. So let me say that again, because some people think they're going to drag it. So it's really what you want to do is just touch that tile once you're in rearrange, and then tap it to the location that you want it to be in. And then after that, that will go ahead and change that ActiveCaptain to your first from left to right. And you can do that with as many as you see on there. And also if you tap that, it allows you to delete that pinned feature or tile. So let's go into options, which we formerly called menu, and give you kind of an overview of what you can do with options within a different screen. So I always told people in the past, and it's really the same. So once you get past these first few initial screens that you'll see that are new in the user interface, everything behind them are pretty much the same. You won't see a lot of changes at all. So we just made it a little bit more efficient up front. So before, if I was on this screen here, which I'm in charts, and I wanted to do something different to this, I wanted to customize it, I would go in and select menu. Within this now, if I'm in pinned and I want to customize that pin, I just select options. So options is the new way to do it, and menu was the old way. So let's go ahead and add a combo. This is probably the second thing I see. A lot of people, when they first go in, they want to find out where their nav chart is. The next is they might want to go ahead and see a combo. Maybe there's combos that we've already given you in that unit itself. Maybe you want to go ahead and customize it. So you're going to customize it so you get all your overlay bars, your data fields up here. When you want to do a split, a three-way split like you see here, a two-way split, all the way up to a six-way split, depending on what screen size that you have. So you'll see what my options are here in my 1243 XSV. This is a 12-inch touchscreen display that I'm using for the screenshots. So let's go into combo and then options. So just remember, anytime you want to change something, we've got combo highlighted. Here's what's in my combo already. And then options allows me to just go and customize it. So here are my options here. I can add one. I can edit that current combo that's in there. I could delete that combo, or I can add this to pinned, which I might do at the end after I go ahead and customize it. So let's go ahead and select add combo. And I've already gone and changed the name. So the very first thing that you're going to see here is this screen. Once you hit add combo, it defaults to the two-way vertical layout here. Also read your screens. So a lot of times what we do is we will actually kind of walk you through what needs to be done. Tap window to change or hold to rearrange. Makes sense. So I would tap there, and then that's going to pop up another little drop-down menu. On the right-hand side, I went ahead and this was not named. It just gives you a combo whatever number on it as a generic name. So I just named that Garmin. I simply tapped on that. A little virtual keyboard came up and I typed in Garmin. The next thing that it'll do is allow us to go in and go to layouts. So maybe I don't want a two-way layout. In this example with my 1243, let's take a look at what we have. So easy, I can look and see what I want. I like this one here for the example that I'm going to give, but you can kind of pick and choose. And like I said, if you have a larger touchscreen, you might see all the way up to a six-way split on here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we can actually split and view. And I'm going to get into overlays because a lot of times I'll get this question, hey, I have Fusion stereo on board and I want to put it within a combo. Well, let me show you how you can do it because you're not going to actually put it within one of these boxes, but you can do it with an overlay. So let's take a look at that. So we selected the three-way split. And now what I did is I tapped to add. I can also at the same time, I can resize the layout. So if I touch this, I can actually move this around to change what size these layouts or boxes are within this combo. So once you tap to add, you're going to get a drop-down menu over here. And this is going to give us an option to dig into what we want to see here in this portion of our combo. So obviously you have charts, radar, so forth here, all the way down through the line. This is going to show you what is on your network. So, you know, if you didn't have an autopilot on the network, you're not going to see that. So this is really going to show you what's within your network that you can add. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We're going to go into charts. And here is the drop-down menu that I get. I can tell here that I have the additional cartography chart chip that's added to this. That gives me some of those premium features like the fisheye view. And so I've got additional features in here. I also have radar, so I know I have radar on this boat. I've got fish mapping, so I have a GXM 54 on the boat. But in this example here, I want to make this just my navigation chart. So let's go ahead and select nav chart. And then boom. So I jumped ahead a little bit. So let's take a look back here. Tap to add, that's going to go in here. I went ahead and tapped add to this and this. And then what I came up with is I wanted radar over on this side. And then I also wanted traditional sonar over on this side here. So for my last option here, I picked traditional sonar. We can go ahead and hit back. And then I can customize my overlays. So I want additional information. And obviously this screen might be a little bit too busy for you once you get done with this, but this is just showing you what you can do with these certain screens. And I can create a bunch of different combos. And then with that, I can just add them to pin, keep them in combos, and then use them as I want to. So let's go into overlays and then look at the options that I have here. So I actually already added something in this, but here from top to bottom is going to be the options that I have in the overlays. And what I have is data bar. Okay, so on that, I can do a top bar, which I prefer. You could also do a sidebar, double sidebar on there. So you can add different things the way that you're going to actually see this digital data appear on your screen. And then within that, I can also tap and hold and change the data within that box itself. The navigation, that allows me to go in and say, hey, I want the navigation information, you know, the bearing and distance to that next active waypoint to pop up automatically. That's what the default would be in your GPS map unit. Or I can turn it off if I didn't want that on the screen because maybe some of that information is already in here. And so I didn't need it overlaid on the screen itself, or I can just have it on all the time. So either way, you can pick and choose that. So on the top bar, we've already chosen media. So media, like I was saying before, somebody has a Fusion stereo on board. They want to be able to view it, control it, see it, manipulate it, change it with all their audio and volume control, selection of the audio source, everything in there, you have that ability. You just can't do it within a big layout here within that combo, but I'll show you what you can do in order to maximize that screen. So we've already done that. So we've already chosen what we're going to have on the top bar. Then on the bottom bar, we have it off, but I want to go ahead and show you what your choices are. So top bar, that's what you see there is all your data that I chose. Navigation we talked about, and our Fusion media bar. So let's go take a look here at the bottom bar. I have a few different options. Media, done. That's our Fusion. I can do a compass tape. Sometimes I like the compass tape on maybe just my sonar screen. If I had just a screen with just traditional sonar, sometimes I'll put the compass tape on there. Autopilot bar, so that would be, I know on this system here that I have an autopilot, so that allows me to put that as a top or a bottom bar. Mercury Cruise, we'll talk a little bit more about that. And a great new feature that we have, and we've actually have the ability now to control a power pole anchor. So we'll take a look at that and how we can actually add that, which is simple and easy. And then you've got power pole control right from your Garmin multifunction display. And in some of the ECHOMAP units, you'll have that ability. If we didn't want the the bottom bar, we could just turn it off, and then we could just have a top bar up there if that was too cluttered for us. So we chose power pole anchor. With the power pole, remember, so this is another manufacturer, but we're able to view and see that power pole via the NEMA 2000 network. It's going to be utilized in our GPSMAP and ECHOMAP units. Make sure you go to Garmin.com to see if your Garmin chart plotter is available to control the power pole. You do need this Sea Monster gateway in order to control it, and that's going to be just connected via NEMA 2000 and then to your power pole blade anchors. So there's your power pole. If you haven't seen them before, great thing, you know, for my area, it makes fishing and anchoring quick and easy, and I can be a little bit more stealth when I'm going into certain areas. You'll see some boats that'll have two. You'll see some boats that'll just have one, and you can go into the Garmin chart plotter and configure it if you wanted to make them connected to where you can control them at the same time, separate, or if you just had one power pole. So remember, adding a combo, simple, easy. It's options, add a combo, name, layouts, and overlays. So we've got everything kind of shown here. We can select back. I could even close out this screen and that would save all my information that I just put in there. I can select done. And so there you go. So here's my combo. That was the combo that was already in the unit when I just took it out of the box. That was just split navigation. And now I have my custom combo. So I've got my Fusion stereo control up top here. I got some data information that's pertinent for me on my vessel. I can actually tell that I have some sort of fuel flow system on board that I'm monitoring. Remember, this data that you see here has to communicate to my MFD, my multifunction display. If I didn't have fuel flow, for example, through NEMA 2000, I'm not going to see anything in this, and I'll just get, you know, blank information up here. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more, because Toolbars is going to be a really good example of how we can get even more overlays and not have to exit a screen in order to see and control something else on the vessel itself. So let's talk about Toolbars that you see down here on our little nav menu. So these are overlay bars. So just what I talked about when we were making that overlay for the combos, we're integrating more and more systems on the vessel itself with what we're doing and third-party manufacturers, be it PowerPole, or Mercury, you know, different switches, digital switching. So we have the ability to come in here now with a toolbar and customize it. We also give us the ability to quickly change what's on that data bar. So as you see right here, we have selected media, and media is displayed here. But if I want to simply go in and change to autopilot or the compass up there, I don't have to exit the screen anymore like you saw before. So it's quick access, just like I said. It allows me to also pick and choose where I'm going to add that overlay bar. So if I see what's on the system on the bottom here, and this is dependent on what is on my network. So what is that Garmin chart plotter seeing? I can go down to autopilot bar, and I could add it to the top. I could add it to the bottom, which is already on there. If I wanted to change something and do my trolling motor controls up top, because I have a Garmin trolling motor, I have that ability to do that. So everything will be listed along the bottom there. So when a toolbar is added to the top or bottom, we can remove that also. So it's kind of simple and easy. You know, you've got a trolling motor up top here. We could remove that. So it's really just tapping on this tile or icon on the bottom here and allowing us to control what we're seeing within this top or bottom data bar. So Mercury has the cruise control feature on there, and now we have accessed this and have this as a new overlay bar. So when you're connected to a Mercury gateway that supports Mercury Cruise feature, what we can actually do is go in there, and with an overlay bar, we can control and target specific speeds on here for their cruise. So that's a neat little feature here. You also have the enabled feature right here in a data bar. So let's run through the combo here and kind of take a look and show you what you're going to actually see here. I did a recording of the screen, so I'm going to kind of call it out and show you what we're actually looking at here. You know, starting out, we're just in the screen that when I turned on my Garmin chart plotter, it came to this screen here. So I'm in pin. So let's go ahead and take a look here. I want to go ahead and go into combos. And now I'm in combos, and I'm going to select that combo that I just made and show you some things. Like, first off, if you take a look at the top up here, we're going to choose Fusion. Now I have a full Fusion screen here. This allows me to go in and control, you know, my sources, my zones. In this example, I might have like an Apollo 770 stereo and customize that. Next down here is the data bar. So if I press and hold what we're seeing over here, like time of day, this allows me to go and replace that data for whatever is on the network, or not, whatever within the system here. So maybe I just want to go ahead and put GPS speed in here. So I can select GPS speed, and now that's changed in here. So that's simple and easy, just tapping and touching that screen. Within this combo screen, I can touch and manipulate that screen itself. I could do a waypoint, route, track, auto guidance, or I can go into a full screen. And then with the full screen, I have the pan, the zoom in, zoom out feature, and then just back, and now I'm back into my combo screen. Radar screen over here, I can zoom in, I can zoom out to change my ranges, I can pan, or I can go full screen. I can also go into options, and then with options, I can go in, and let's say I wanted a to see the range and bearing to a target and distance. I can simply and quickly turn that on, then go in and just select back. Let's do the traditional sonar here. So with the traditional sonar, I can go in, and let's say I just touched that screen and I wanted to create a waypoint on that sonar screen. I have that ability to do that. I can also come down here and start that sonar over again. So it's going to start in the new spot that I'm at if I've moved since I paused that screen. And then finally on the bottom there, we've got our power pole. So the power pole allows us to go in and customize and do the installation. So if I had a single power pole, it allows me to do that. Or in this case, I showed dual power poles. And then it can also adjust the speed of the stow and deploy speed for that. If you notice down here, here's my toolbar. So as you see, when I scroll through that really quickly, I can just go in and change what I see within that screen and, you know, manipulate what I see from cruise, autopilot, media, compass, and so forth. So it makes it really neat. It is a lot of information on the screen, but if you just remember a few different things on here, like when you take a look at this, you can tap to change what you see, or you can hit options in order to customize what you see on the screen itself. So let's go into settings. When you just got your brand new Garmin multifunction display, I'd say this is probably one of the first things that I do. And then I would do the other, you know, adding stuff to pin, customize screens. You can also save that as a system profile once you've created all this, and then save it onto a SD or micro SD card, depending on what Garmin unit GPSMAP series that you have. But let's go into settings. And the very first thing that I generally do here in North America is turn on the WAAS, because I want a little bit better accuracy with my GPS. map unit, and that is defaulted to off when we ship those. So let's go into settings. So as I said before, options is going to be here over on the right-hand side on this screen. Sometimes it'll be down on the right, but just select that. It's the 3 little dots. And then once that pops up, you will get into settings screen. So let's go back real quick and take a look. So I was in the pin screen, okay? I don't have anything pinned here right now because I cleared this unit when I did this part of the webinar. Like I said before, if you look at a lot of our screens, we actually give you a little written tutorial of what you need to do in order to perform that function. So just remember that too. So let's do that again. So we're going to go to options, and now we see settings on the bottom left-hand side, or I could add something to pin. So let's go ahead into settings. And now these are going to be the global settings of our MFD. And so what that would mean is this allows me to go in and see system. System can be changes the sound, GPS information, which we're going to go into, system information. So that'll allow me to see Garmin devices, software information, event logs, weather subscriptions, and so forth. We can go in and look under preferences. And so under preferences, you're going to see, units. So if you wanted to customize the units or north reference, magnetic variations, position formats, degrees, minutes, seconds, degrees, minutes, tenths of seconds, what type of map you're using, your time information, so do you want your time zone to be automatic or do you want to do it manually? So this is where you can find that under your preferences. Communication allows you to go in and look at what's on your network. So for instance, like J1939 or NEMA 0183, NEMA 2000, your marine network, Ethernet. Communications also allows you to see your wireless devices or add a wireless device. Also allows you to give permissions for your ActiveCaptain, who's going to view it and control it. You can add wireless remote controls through this. Different Connect IQ app. So if you wanted to control it through a watch, your G-Wind wireless wind gauge, you can actually connect it through there. Garmin cameras, your trolling motors access through the wireless devices on there under communications. And then alarms, my vessel. So you've got a lot of different things that you can go in here. One thing under my vessel is maybe a temperature offset. Let's say that your temperature on your transducer isn't syncing with the temperature on your GXM Sirius satellite sea surface temperature. You can go in and customize that. So it gives you a lot of what we call global settings for the multifunction display. And in this example, we're going to do the system. So we're going to go in under systems and then go to GPS. And what I want to do is, because if you notice over here, WAAS is turned off. So that wide area augmentation system is turned off. So the main benefit of the WAAS system is it's greatly improved accuracy. So GPS is accurate to about 50 feet. When you enable it, you're going to be less than 3 meters or less than 15 feet, 10 feet, 95% of the time. So the repeatability, accuracy is really good. And so that's what you want to go in very first thing when you get your Garmin unit and you're using it in North America. You want to go ahead and turn that on, or in Europe, because EGNOS is the European correction for the GPS error. And then you can turn that on also. In this screen, in your Skyview screen, it also allows us to either turn on GLONASS, which is the Russian satellite system, or the Galileo, the entire European satellite system there. So you can turn those on or off. If you're in North America, I haven't really seen it make too much of a difference. I have seen when I have my Garmin watch and I'm using my Quadix on land, I like to turn on WAAS and I'd like to turn on GLONASS. The reason for it is I'm tracking more satellites. So if I'm in heavy tree cover or around mountains or in an urban environment around buildings, it gives me the ability to see more satellites. So I make sure that I'm seeing all these satellites, connecting to them and giving me a good GPS position information. So I want to say thank you. I appreciate everyone staying along with this. Hopefully that was some good information on our brand new GPSMAP user interface. As always, if you have any questions pertaining to this webinar, just email us at marine.training@garmin.com. Just put in the subject that it's the GPSMAP UI user interface. As always, you can go to our YouTube channel. We archive all these latest webinars. The last one I did before this was on the Garmin boat switch, and you can see some others. We've done a fusion webinar, we've done ice fishing. So there's a whole 2+ year catalog on there that you can go back and do a deeper dive into it. You can even utilize some of our older webinars, even if the user interface has changed, because some of the actual menus in there are still the same. So I want to thank you. I am John. I'm from the Garmin Marine team, and we will see you out on the water.